Hello, General Hospital will reveal GHTV series highlights for the week of March 31st to April 4th, 2025. First, Marco, a handsome and talented lawyer, arrives at Windermere with a dark past that he is desperate to keep hidden. His arrival in Port Charles stirs up tension, particularly as it becomes known that he is the son of Jen Sidwell and Natalia Ramirez. His connections to these powerful figures quickly raise suspicions and add layers of complexity to his character. As he integrates into the social fabric of Port Charles, Marco keeps his secrets close, but it's clear that his presence will disrupt the lives of those around him, particularly Lucas. Lucas, who has always been hopeful about his future with Marco, begins to feel a sense of unease as he grows closer to him. At first, Marco's charm and good looks are irresistible, and Lucas is swept up in their budding relationship. However, as the days pass, Lucas begins to notice subtle inconsistencies in Marco's behavior, leaving him with questions that he doesn't know how to ask. He feels a growing sense of doubt, especially as Marco becomes more secretive and evasive about his past. It's clear that Marco is hiding something, and the trust Lucas has placed in him starts to waver. Brad, ever protective of Lucas, begins to sense something is off with Marco. While Lucas is falling deeper for the lawyer, Brad is more cautious, knowing that Marco's enigmatic nature could spell trouble. Brad's distrust grows, particularly when he notices how Marco seems to avoid certain topics or change the subject when questioned. He warns Lucas about putting too much faith in someone whose true intentions are unclear. But Lucas brushes off the concern, too blinded by his feelings for Marco to see the warning signs. This creates tension between Lucas and Brad, as the latter feels more and more like he's losing his grip on the situation. The turning point comes when Lucas uncovers a series of disturbing truths about Marco. He learns that Marco has been involved in questionable dealings that have far-reaching consequences, both for Marco and those around him. The revelation shakes Lucas to his core. The man he thought he was falling in love with turns out to be someone entirely different, a man with a past full of secrets and lies. Lucas is forced to confront the painful reality that Marco's charm may have been nothing more than a facade. The trust that once seemed so solid between them begins to crumble as Lucas grapples with whether he can ever truly trust Marco again. As the situation unfolds, Lucas is left to navigate the complexities of love, trust, and betrayal. He must decide whether to continue his relationship with Marco despite the revelations or walk away from someone who has shown him a side of himself that is hard to accept. Meanwhile, Brad stands by Lucas, offering support and advice as he faces this emotional turmoil. The tension between Lucas, Marco, and Brad only intensifies as Lucas is forced to make the most difficult decision of his life, one that will have lasting consequences for everyone involved. Second, Tracy Quartermaine, ever the schemer, recently alluded to her plan of using Nina Reeves' secret affair with Drew Quartermaine as leverage when the time is right. Tracy, always calculating, understands the power that this information holds, and she's biding her time, knowing full well that this secret can be her trump card. Although she doesn't seem in a rush to blackmail Nina immediately, her mention of it serves as a reminder to Nina that Tracy has the upper hand. This could turn into a dangerous game, with Tracy holding all the cards, ready to strike when Nina least expects it. The fact that Tracy has this knowledge means she controls a significant part of Nina's fate. Despite the pressure mounting on Nina, Tracy knows the right moment to use this information can make all the difference. Nina's anxiety about the secret relationship with Drew being exposed to Willow is palpable, and Tracy seems to be enjoying watching her discomfort from the sidelines. For now, Tracy is patient, carefully considering when to make her move. The fact that Tracy hasn't yet acted shows her understanding of how delicate the situation is, as she knows that timing will be everything. Ned Quartermaine, Tracy's son, shares this leverage with her, which could make the stakes even higher. His involvement in the matter suggests that he, too, understands the power this secret holds, especially as it pertains to Willow's potential reaction. Ned is often a man of strategy, and with Tracy by his side, the two of them could be an unstoppable force. choosing the precise moment to strike and potentially unraveling Nina's carefully constructed life. How and when they decide to act will be crucial to how Nina responds. Nina's fear of Willow finding out about her affair with Drew is something that Tracy and Ned are acutely aware of. They know that if the truth were revealed, it could devastate Nina's relationship with Willow and potentially undo everything Nina has worked so hard to achieve in her personal life. The anxiety that Nina feels about this secret getting out is a driving force in her actions and decisions. She is doing everything she can to keep this information buried. But the longer she remains silent, the greater the risk that it will eventually come to light in the worst possible way. What's more, if Nina had come forward earlier with the truth about her relationship with Drew, there's a chance that things could have turned out differently. Willow might not have gotten involved with Drew in the first place, avoiding the current web of deceit and disgust. Instead, Nina's silence and reluctance to confess have allowed the situation to escalate to the point where the damage might already be done. The longer Nina holds onto the secret, the more difficult it becomes to salvage the relationships at stake. Tracy, with her cold, calculated nature, has been waiting for just the right moment to strike. And the pressure on Nina is mounting. The longer Nina tries to cover up the truth, the more precarious her position becomes. Tracy's patience will likely pay off, as she knows that revealing the secret at the right time could bring Nina to her knees, especially when it comes to her relationship with Willow. For Nina, the looming threat of Tracy's attack is a constant source of stress, knowing that her fate is in the hands of someone who could choose to destroy her world with just a few carefully chosen words. In the end, the power dynamic between Tracy, Nina, and Drew will come down to timing. Tracy's strategic mind knows that using this information at the right moment could turn the tables in her favor. As the situation continues to unfold, it will be fascinating to see when and how Tracy chooses to pull the trigger on the secret, and what the repercussions will be for Nina, Drew, and everyone else involved. Third, Emma Drake is about to take an extreme step that could lead her into serious trouble. Driven by a personal motive, she plans to prevent Drew from interfering with the Quartermain family's gravesite. This decision, born out of desperation or perhaps a desire to protect something precious to her, could quickly spiral out of control. Emma's determination to follow through with her plan places her in a vulnerable position, and she may find herself facing consequences that she hadn't anticipated. The situation is charged with tension as she steps into territory that could prove far more dangerous than she initially realized. Gio Palmieri, on the other hand, might find himself unexpectedly involved in Emma's scheme. While his initial intentions may not have been to get tangled in this, his connection with Emma provides him with the opportunity to get closer to her. As they navigate the intricacies of Emma's plan, Joe's role will likely evolve from a passive observer to a key player in the unfolding drama. His presence, however, might create a bond between him and Emma, allowing them to grow closer in ways they hadn't expected. The emotional stakes are high, and this shared experience could deepen their connection, even as they face the risks together. While Emma's plan may seem bold and daring, it's unclear whether she will succeed in keeping Drew away from the family gravesite. Drew, with his own complicated ties to the Quartermain family, is no easy obstacle to overcome. Emma may quickly realize that her actions could have unintended consequences, especially if Drew is determined to take his place in the family history. The more she tries to control the situation, the more she may feel trapped by the very plan she set into motion. There's no telling how far she will go or how much danger she'll bring upon herself in the process, making this plotline even more unpredictable. On a more personal note, Emma and Joe's growing connection seems inevitable. They have been spending more time together, and the chemistry between them is undeniable. As they continue to navigate the highs and lows of Emma's increasingly risky plan, it becomes clear that their partnership is more than just circumstantial. There's an undeniable spark between them, and it's only a matter of time before they share that first kiss. Their relationship is quickly evolving, and what started as a shared challenge might turn into something much deeper. The question remains, will they let their feelings for each other grow, or will the chaos of Emma's scheme pull them apart? As the stakes grow higher and the tension between Emma and Drew escalates, Joe's role in Emma's life could become more pivotal. His support might be what keeps her grounded as the plan unravels, and it could also serve as the catalyst for a romance that neither of them expected. Whether or not Emma's mission will succeed, one thing is certain. The bond between her and Gio will be tested in ways they never anticipated. Their relationship is evolving, and their first kiss may just be the beginning of a new chapter for both of them, filled with unexpected twists and emotional depth. Ultimately, the true success of Emma's plan will hinge not only on the outcome of her actions, but on how much she is willing to sacrifice for the sake of her cause. The danger she faces could lead to greater consequences than she ever imagined, and the relationship with Gio may serve as both a source of comfort and a complicating factor as they dive deeper into this high-stakes situation. As for Drew, his presence could be a pivotal factor in deciding how far Emma and Gio will go and whether their blossoming romance will survive the drama. Fourth, after Kristina's reckless decision to sabotage Ava Jerome's car, which appears to have involved cutting the brakes, she will find herself weighed down by guilt and regret. Realizing the extent of her actions, she confides in Lucky, hoping to find some solace in sharing her burden. However, the damage has already been done, and there's no way to undo the chaos she set in motion. As Kristina comes to terms with the reality of her actions, she is confronted by the consequences that she never expected. The repercussions of Kristina's vengeance are immediate and severe, as Rick Lansing and Elizabeth Baldwin find themselves trapped in the car crash. Their injuries could be serious, and the emotional toll on everyone involved will be heavy. Kristina's role in the accident will become painfully clear, and she will be forced to face the fact that her desire for revenge has caused immense pain for people she cares about. The guilt will consume her, knowing that she is responsible for Rick and Liz's suffering, even if she never intended for things to escalate so far. As Rick and Elizabeth are rushed to the hospital, Kristina is left to wrestle with the consequences of her rash actions. The crash could potentially send all three to General Hospital, where the full impact of Kristina's reckless behavior will unfold. Kristina will be forced to watch as the people she's hurt fight for their lives, and the weight of her guilt will likely intensify as she reflects on how one impulsive decision spiraled out of control. Despite the overwhelming sense of responsibility she feels, Kristina might find herself physically unharmed in the crash, though the emotional scars will be far deeper. Her actions will leave a lasting impact on her relationships, particularly with Rick and Elizabeth. Kristina will have to navigate the difficult task of earning their forgiveness, and it's unclear whether she can ever fully repair the damage she's done. The emotional aftermath will likely ripple through her life, altering her path and forcing her to confront the darker side of her impulsive nature. In the end, Kristina's regret will be the driving force behind her personal growth, but the road to redemption will be long and fraught with difficulty. She may try to make amends, but it's uncertain whether she can fully make up for the pain she's caused. The events of the crash will change Kristina's character, and her journey toward redemption will be a key storyline in the coming weeks. The aftermath of the accident, especially during the week of March 31st to April 4th, will test her in ways she's never faced before, and how she deals with the consequences will be crucial to her future. Fifth, in this direction, the show could really highlight Kristina's overwhelming sense of guilt for tampering with Ava's car brakes, which ultimately led to the entire catastrophic situation. As Kristina realizes the full extent of her actions, the weight of her remorse will weigh heavily on her, especially when she sees how far her quest for revenge has gone. This could serve as a pivotal moment of self-awareness for Kristina, as she is forced to confront just how dangerously obsessed with vengeance she became. It's clear that she has crossed a line, and this could be the wake-up call she needs to understand the consequences of letting her anger control her actions. Kristina will likely reach a point where she understands that she needs professional help to break free from her destructive feud with Ava. Her desire for vengeance has not only hurt those around her, but also caused her to lose control of her own emotions and actions. Seeking therapy or counseling might be the only way for her to work through the guilt and anger that she feels. The realization that she has gone too far could mark the beginning of her journey toward healing, but it will be a long and difficult road. Kristina's emotional struggle will become central to her character development in the aftermath of the crash. Unfortunately, no amount of emotional growth will undo the harm she has caused to Elizabeth and Rick. If they are fighting for their lives or struggling to cope with serious injuries, Kristina's journey toward redemption will seem almost insignificant in comparison to their suffering. The physical and emotional toll on them will be devastating, and Kristina's guilt will only intensify as she watches the people she's hurt try to recover. Her actions have set off a chain of events that she cannot undo, and the long-term effects on her relationships with both Rick and Elizabeth will be profound. Lucky, as Kristina's father, will be caught in a difficult position. He will feel the heavy responsibility of trying to manage the fallout from his daughter's reckless actions, and he will be forced to navigate the complexities of both protecting Kristina and addressing the consequences of her behavior. As much as he loves his daughter, Lucky will struggle with how to make things right, especially when the lives of Rick and Elizabeth are on the line. The situation will cause major tension between him and Kristina, as he tries to figure out how to repair the damage done while also guiding his daughter toward emotional healing. His dilemma will add a layer of complexity to the storyline, highlighting his internal conflict as a father. Ultimately, the fallout from Kristina's actions will be a defining moment for her character. She will be forced to reckon with the painful reality that her desire for revenge has led to irreversible consequences. The emotional toll of seeing Rick and Elizabeth suffer will likely be the turning point that pushes Kristina to seek help and work through her guilt. However, as much as she strives to heal, the impact on those around her, particularly Rick and Elizabeth, will remain a lingering shadow, reminding her of the cost of her impulsive decisions. Finally, for Lucky, the situation with Kristina presents an incredibly tough decision, whether to report his daughter for her reckless actions or to protect her and keep the truth hidden. As much as Lucky cares for Kristina, the weight of her destructive behavior and the harm it caused to Elizabeth will make him question his loyalties. Kristina has already hurt so many people, and if the truth were to come to light, she could face serious consequences, including possible criminal charges. Lucky knows that if the authorities were to discover what Kristina did, she could be arrested for her actions, and the repercussions could haunt her for the rest of her life. The situation becomes even more complicated when considering Ava's potential reaction. If Ava were to uncover the truth about Kristina's involvement in the sabotage of her car, she would have a powerful bargaining chip to use against Kristina and, by extension, Sunny. Ava could leverage this information to gain an advantage over both of them, especially since Sunny is someone she knows has a significant influence on the lives of those around him. If Ava plays her cards right, she could manipulate the situation to her favor, potentially using Kristina's actions to hurt Sunny or gain something in return. This would put even more pressure on Lucky to make a choice, as his family's safety and well-being could be at stake. Lucky's anger towards Kristina is palpable, particularly because of the injury she caused to Elizabeth, someone he deeply cares about. He feels torn between his love for his daughter and his frustration with her inability to stop her reckless behavior. The more he reflects on Kristina's actions, the more difficult it becomes for him to justify protecting her from the consequences of her actions. He knows that her actions have gone too far, and his internal struggle intensifies as he considers the potential fallout. His emotions are torn. He is angry at Kristina for causing harm to Liz, but also deeply conflicted because of his parental bond to her. On the other hand, Lucky has a deep respect for Sunny, even though their relationship has been strained in the past. Sunny's influence in Lucky's life, particularly in regard to family matters, weighs heavily on him. Despite his frustrations with Kristina's actions, Lucky is reluctant to take a step that could put him at odds with Sunny, especially if it leads to serious consequences for Kristina. The respect and admiration Lucky has for Sunny complicate his decision, as he doesn't want to be responsible for damaging his relationship with him further. In many ways, Lucky feels torn between his sense of duty as a father and his loyalty to Sunny, knowing that whatever choice he makes could have a lasting impact on both of those relationships. Ultimately, Lucky's decision will shape not only Kristina's fate, but also the future of his relationship with both his daughter and Sunny. If he chooses to report Kristina, the fallout could be devastating, with long-term consequences for Kristina and the rest of the family. But if he remains silent, he risks enabling Kristina's destructive behavior and allowing her to escape the consequences of her actions. It's a decision that Lucky cannot take lightly, and the emotional weight of it will continue to haunt him as he wrestles with what is the right course of action. The stakes are high, and whichever path he chooses, the effects will ripple through the entire family.